clothes. Grabbed and squeezed a bit. I squoze it. Oh, Lordy patience. Sunday morning mass hole, where we talk about, let's talk about religion. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I got a friend that says, I work mornings now. Hope you and your wife are doing good. On YouTube, don't listen to the people who are cutting you down. They are mad, though, because you keep being so angry with the Jews. Why would anybody be angry about that? Why would anybody get mad that I'm talking about a completely different group of people? And I'm talking about, like, I had a personal example of this conversation, of this whole thing yesterday. And it was really fucked up. But it's you know, it's what it is. Like, it's amazing how it's who we are. What's up, Karen? Not just on the, like, political big picture kind of level, but who we are as just regular people too. You know, I had such an interesting conversation with one of my best friends. So immediately there's the loyalty aspect of things. And that was my point from the beginning. Like, you know, it's something. So my wife is showing off this video about this woman that she really likes watching. And it's this Jewish woman who, you know, that her favorite video is the T-Rex video, where the woman says, you know, you got to be an emotional T-Rex, and when you find yourself upset, put your arms up and act like a T-Rex. And then she explained, this releases the cortisol and the blah 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 blah. And sure, that shit sounds great and all, but is it practical? Is it practical that you're going to stop a conversation, or you're going to, you know, pull yourself out of something and act like a T-Rex? They're saying internal error now, taking me off. Gonna sign through my account. Hope this message goes. I mean, it's you know, at the end of the day, if I wasn't right about things, why would so much effort go into me? Why would so much effort go into preventing you from experiencing me? But, you know, my thing is, like, I say, you know, I think these are bullshit. First of all, nobody's ever going to break from the conversation and have their emotional T-Rex moment and then come back. And the reality is, if you actually did that, if you were in a fight with someone, argument, and you decided to stop and be like, I need an emotional T-Rex, of course that's going to change things, because you're going to act silly for a minute. If you act silly doing anything, it's going to break the tension. It's going to do, but that's fine. The real question is, why do you get so upset to begin with that you need a T-Rex moment? And this sort of brings up more and more shit. And I'm trying to sort of talk about things, but can't, because there are these blockers on, right? And it's like I would love to be open and honest and speak exactly how I feel, but don't want to upset anybody, you know. And so this starts going back and forth. And finally, I'm like, listen, do you ever think like it's my wife's trans friend? Do you ever think like I ever in my life wanted to talk to you about something like this? But the only reason I'm talking to you is because it's a window. Because there's this fortress that is my wife, who is riddled with dysfunction and bullshit programming from her parents and all this stuff that she's just not willing to look at or talk about or deal with. And it makes it really difficult. And one of the big things is the man is always wrong. And so when, I'm like, the only reason I'm talking to you is because you listen, because she listens to you. When her mom was in the hospital and I was saying, go see your mom, go see your mom, I was the bad guy. I was trying to control things and you blah, 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 and I know and I know this, and it turned out I was right, you know. But as soon as the friend said, yeah, you know what, in the most roundabout way, because my wife has created this narrative where like people are afraid to agree with me because they don't want her to get mad, or not even get mad, but like be upset about it. And it's just so weird. And that's, it's like we're talking about doing T-Rex bullshit, but why? What are you even getting mad about to begin with? And the whole time, like, they're just so manipulative. Women are just so manipulative. And the fact that at certain points my octave goes up a little bit, not even yelling or anything, just goes from being this tone to like this tone, right? And my hands move when I'm talking. Well, that becomes an issue. And why are you getting upset? And I'm like, I'm not upset. I'm just passionate, and I move when I talk. And I mean, I do it right now. My hands. Morning, Matt. My hands are going right now. And so then when I try to stop that, now I'm going to put my hands between my legs. I'm going to cower down. I'm going to do this. Well, now I'm being an asshole because I'm doing that. And it's like every single chance to not address what's being said, but address something else is what happens. And it feels, it often feels like this. And so at one point, the friend is like, you have the emotional maturity of a brick. That's what she said. And I said, what are you talking about? Based on what? Give me the example. Well, you think that what you're equating logic with truth, and that the way that you choose to look at things makes it true. And I said, no, it's a universal truth that people should want to be happy, that people should want to clean their house, that people should want to eat food, that people should want to you know sure, it's an opinion, I guess. There are people out there that don't think you should clean your house. There are people out there that don't think life should be happiness, or at least working towards it. But like that's not even a thing. Like I don't know anybody that's like, no, you shouldn't be happy in your life. You shouldn't be working towards happiness. Like, that's just a stupid argument. No, that's just your truth. That's your truth. And you're equating your truth with logic. And it's like, what are you fucking talking about? At one point it was like, what are you even saying here? What is even the point of what you're saying? You're trying to say that it's not a universal truth that we should be striving for happiness? If we don't like something, we should be able to address it with our adult partner, and they can decide whether what's being brought up is who they are, and then I have to get over it, or that what I brought up really isn't that big a deal and you could probably let it go, or address that you do it. And this just goes on and on and on, and it's so frustrating because my wife's friend is literally talking with her eyes closed the whole time. She goes, I'm sorry, my eyes are closed, I'm just upset, and da 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 da. And you know, your emotional maturity it's like a brick. And I said, you're saying that to me and your eyes are closed. You can't even look at me when you're saying these things. What are you talking about? Morning, Karen, again. And it's so frustrating to deal with the same type of weird dysfunction, not only in my real life, but in like it's the same thing as the comment section. People will agree with me and dig what I'm doing and all that until I do my thing to their thing. Ouch. And then as soon as the same stuff that made me attractive to begin with, it crosses whatever lines you've created, then suddenly I'm the bad guy. I don't know. Because this person is 26. This person is not like this well-adjusted person, this, you know, granted, for anybody to be trans and all that, they've gone through a lot of shit. Doesn't necessarily mean they've got it figured out. And you know, the eyes closed thing is a sign of immaturity. And again, the problem is, you know, I don't make, you know, I don't put that out there that you can't say something because you're going to hurt my feelings, so don't say it. It's not me that creates that narrative. And if we were all just being honest with each other, then you wouldn't be afraid to say things that I'm saying, because I'm not saying anything that's out of line. No, not medicated. You sound like a troll. No medication, just insecurity, knowing that they were wrong, but not being willing to admit it because I'm a man. And men are wrong, men are bad. I mean, I'm literally sitting like with my hands between my legs, like talking as low as I can, but still like I'm like sitting down. I'm trying not to be overbearing because I know that's an excuse. It's not even like I think it's real. It's just an excuse that's used. And it's always the same kind of excuses, to where like anytime I make a really good point, then how I said it is the problem. And it's like, yeah, but why aren't we talking about what was said instead of how it was? Okay, you're deciding that because my inflection was too strong in this way, or I moved my hand too hard this way, or I, you know, my whatever it is. Now that's a reason why we shouldn't focus on what's being said. No, you don't realize how you say things. Like I'm a person. I'm a human being. I have emotions. I'm not just some robot that can continue to talk like this. Well, get over it. Nobody does that to me. You know? Nobody holds back what they're saying to me, but I'm always supposed to walk on the eggshells and, you know, okay, well, I can't say this too loud. I can't raise my hand. I can't, you know, I can't do this. I can't do that. Like, it's ridiculous. We will always complain no matter what, yeah. Remember, I got cut out of the stream again. I literally came into closed eyes, not appreciated by you. No. What? I don't even know what to respond to that to it. Okay. It's really just it's a strange, different, you know. And to be in a situation where like I'm stuck in this, and it's like this just in the world. Like I'm stuck in a situation where Israel is allowed to commit genocide, rape children, do just the worst of the worst things, and I'm just supposed to sit here and, according to the situation, I'm not even supposed to say anything about it. And that's such a fucked up thing, but that's like it's the same thing on the lowest levels. It's weird how it's that same mentality that's all the way through, and for somebody that's not like that, it's very difficult. It's a strange. Look at, we have the other, this dumbass on here, the Jesus dumbass, right? Within a comment or two, this dumbass loses all sense of reality and decorum and just starts saying nonsense because they can't actually say any, they can't look at things realistically. They can't understand what's going on. Like, it's really a strange setup, but you see it time and time again. An inability to look at yourself makes it so that you can't look outward, right? You can't question things. You can't even discuss things normally. That's why there's so many fights. That's why there's so many arguments when people, that's why there's this belief that you're not supposed to talk about politics and money, and I don't remember what the three things are you're not supposed to talk about, but it's really interesting how it all works. No, I'm not unhappy. It doesn't matter. Like, I said, it's just a stupid moment. It's gone. It doesn't matter. The whole medicated thing, that's a troll comment. That's what it was saying. Politics, religion, and money. Politics, religion, and money, the three things that dominate our lives, are the things we're told we're not supposed to talk about. And it's like, right off the bat, it's this dysfunctional protection system. We're not supposed to talk about politics, religion, and money. Those three things dominate our lives. Those are three things we should absolutely talk about and be able to talk about reasonably. To think we shouldn't talk about politics, well, what the fuck do you think dictates our lives? If you're not supposed to talk about politics with people, that's crazy. And the reason you're not supposed to talk about politics with people is because it ends up in a fight. Well, why would you end up in a fight? Belch. The only reason you're going to get mad is because somebody says something that you can't intelligently or reasonably argue or defend, so you get mad and you start wanting to fight. Oh no. We have somebody claiming to be Jewish. Disgusting. And now they're finally learning. They're finally going to come in and say these things. Oh, I oppose this. Gee, it only took you, 800 videos before you guys finally caught on? You oppose Matitza Bupe. I bet you do. I bet you're leading the the movement, right? You're out there at the anti-Matitza Bupe rallies. You're talking to your fellow Jewish compatriots. Jesus Christ. You didn't take a lot of blunts this morning. Funny how that shit works. We're told not to talk about 4 things, actually. I mean, that's what I always think. It is 4. Oh, here we go. It's the Schizo Show. We have our provided talking point. Because even these dumbasses, they can't even get their burns right. Right? They don't even know how to, it's not even an accurate thing. If schizophrenia was accurate, I guess that might be a burn, but there's not even a schizophrenic aspect to any of this. But it's all they can do, right? And of course, it's the same people that are, like, they're not out here fighting against the worst things of the worst. You have the same profiles that come here every day. Like that's supposed to be some sort of deterrent. Your fans. You're the biggest fans. The ones that are allowed to be here, at least. Because we know that we have a real person here, Karen, who's saying, fuck, this feed's getting all fucked up. They're showing me an error. I got to go try a different feed. Da 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 da. Trolls don't. And I've always said, this is actually the most dangerous aspect of what I do is this part, is the dysfunctional identification. Because how else can you break free of the trappings of society if you don't get past the dysfunction of it all? Right? How can I change my minds about Matisse Buffet? Why are you friends with people who think it's okay to cut and suck on baby penises? And it's I can't imagine being friends with people like that. And the thing is, what you have to do is call it out for what it is. You have to be able to see the cult for what it is. That it's a disgusting pedophile cult, and obliterate it. The only way you fix it is to obliterate it. Because you can't have one without the other. You can't have Judaism without the disgusting pedophile bullshit. You can't have an entire population of people that watches watches the leadership starve and bomb defenseless children in a process to gain the leadership more power, more land, more money. You can't watch all that shit happen and well, I don't agree with that part, but I'm still a part of the group. No. That's part of the group. And the way that they can create the generation that, like I said, that does watch all that shit happen is through the rape. The rape and the ritualistic sexual abuse. It's a much bigger problem than the Matitza Buffet. Well, no, I guess it's not. I mean, the Matitza Buffet is done to a vast majority of the boys. But I think, again, I just think that people are underestimating the commonality, the frequency, just the amount, the everywhere, the amount of the rape, the child rape, right? I think people don't look at it honestly, because if they did, they would have to say, it's their family, it's their friends, it's their religious people, it's all of it. And everyone knows about it. And that's you know about it and you don't do or say something about it, you're guilty. So how do you convince your friends? You call them what they are. You call them the pedophiles that they are. You have to call out the cult for what it is. It's a disgusting cult that if you're a good person, you don't need to be a member of the cult to be a good person. You know, aren't you a human being before you're a Jew instead of a Jew before you're anything else? Like, understand that the vast majority of the low-level Jews are also being manipulated. You know, they're also being used. But it's if you truly want to fix the problem, then you have to be willing to go to the root of the problem. And that's, you know, that's it. That's what I'm saying. That's even, you know, whether it's something as world affecting and disgusting and all that as Matitza Pei or the Israel Hayom bottom of darkness bullshit. Or it's the stuff that happens with you in your house. You know, your personal relationships. If you're not willing to look into the roots of the problems, then you'll never get to the you know, you'll never get the desired outcome. And it's so interesting to see it happening, whether it's in real time, in real life, or it's on here. It's the same shit. You have to be honest with yourself. The most honest, whether you like it or not, whether it fits your narrative or not, the honesty is what matters most. And if you say, okay, so it's Sunday morning, it's, you know, 10 o'clock Eastern, and yet there are people that are not only here, but they've been waiting. I'm actually late, so they've been waiting for me to go live. A lot of them claim to be in California, so it's 3 hours ahead. But they're here not to support the guy who thinks we should kill pedos and eliminate the J control scheme. They're here to interfere and you know, distract and, you know, I guess try to fuck with shit. And what's the honest truth about that? Who could that be? You could be the most average, I'm just a troll, I have nothing else going on in my life, so I guess I look for other people talking about shit, and instead of intelligently coming in and destroying what's being said, I just start talking nonsense. Like, if that's who you are, that's just a different person than I am. I don't really understand it, and you know, to me it's like embarrassing. You know, like, it's one thing to say I'm looking for a fight, but then get in the fight and, you know, have the fight. Right? You don't just go, I'm looking for a fight, and walk up and start like pushing some little kid or something. No, fight on the highest levels. Test yourself to the fullest of your abilities. But who else? Who could it be? Who is going to oppose the guy that thinks we should kill pedos other than pedos? Who is going to not be willing to look at Matitza Pei for what it is and Israel Hayom for what it is? And instead, you know, attack the person that is. You know, I guess you can say this is one of those things that's, oh, well, this is just your opinion. It's just your opinion. You're right. It is my opinion that children are off limits. Unless you can make a better argument than I can, unless you can make a good argument as to why children aren't off limits, you just saying they're not or fighting against, that doesn't prove anything. And it's just so interesting how well The programming works. You know, and you can see how it's comes from Israel. Hayom is a newspaper. Yeah, the article is in the description. It's a website. It's Israel's #1 free weekly, and a weekly is a pamphlet. It would be distributed physically, but I guess I mean I'm sure it still is as well. But it's also distributed. You know, it's a website. It's a free news website, and it's Israel's #1 site. Created by and funded by Sheldon Adelson, one of the richest men around. You can't hide behind the typical, oh well, it's just anti-Semitism. It's just somebody that's jealous of the Jews, so they're saying these horrible things. No. Not only was it all Jews and Israelis, top to bottom, whether it's the entire, website, publication itself, all Jews, everybody's Jewish, writers, editors, photographers, layout people, the people who run the website, all of it's all Jews. There is no interference from Goyim on that one. You can't hide like you normally do. The fact that it's all you guys, that says everything. But the worst part is even the fact that it's all you guys, the excuses that are given, the things the good guys say, just show you how sick the entire population is. Because you have to, they're still, at the end of the day, trying to defend Judaism while also trying to expose this fundamental issue with Judaism. And you can't do that. You can't, you can't sit here and so like I say, so there are a couple of things that are done. One, the article mentions multiple times that this is something that happens all over the world, not just in Israel. They're constantly trying to soften the blow and trying to, and this is what they do in everyday life. You talk about how they're terrorists, how they're bombing this, how they're killing that. They'll be like, oh yeah, well what about what they did? Well, what about what they did? They won't engage in the conversation. They'll try to talk about something else. So you get that. You get this happens all over the world, not just in Israel, mentioned like 4 or 5 times. Another thing that's mentioned a couple of times is that perhaps the police never seem to do a very good job and all of the cases are just closed immediately isn't because it's all just corruption top to bottom. No. It's because the police might not have the finances necessary to be able to do a full investigation. So that's why 100% of the time the cases are closed almost immediately without any investigation, because they just don't have the ability to do it, right? Like this is just for the good guys, for the professionals to be throwing these bones out there is just disgusting. But the most disgusting excuse that's given repeatedly is that there is the abuse is just too. The abusers make the abuse so awful, so horrendous that the adults don't tend to believe the children who say, this is what happened. Like, just what? That's literally the worst excuse you can give. Can you imagine that happening in real life? especially if it was like your kid or your family member, your brother, your sister, your cousin, niece, nephew, whatever. They came up to you and you know, they were like, look at these bruises and these marks on me. You've been asking why my personality's changed so much in the last, you know, couple weeks. Well, it turns out I was severely abused by an entire group of people, and they did really horrible shit to me. Who's gonna say, oh, that just sounds so crazy, I'm not gonna believe you, child? Yes. I need so much attention that I read all of your comments. Oh, so stupid. I need attention, so I talk about the thing we're not supposed to talk about instead of trying to sell you Jesus, which is the thing that you've already shown you're willing to buy. And if I just wanted attention, I could easily get attention by selling Jesus. Especially now. After everything that's been done and said, if I suddenly decided that, oh shit, I was visited in the night by the Jesus, and he told me to change my ways and yada yada yada. That would make me and my family significantly wealthy, I would assume. But this isn't for somebody that wants attention. I'm sure not taking the easy road. It would be extremely easy to do that.
Why was the Kirk narrative immediately that he was killed for free speech and Christian values? How did we all just know that before we had any details? Let's stop falling for Charlie Kirk. It's just another operation.
Did you know Jesus was a Jew? I know that's what the dumbass Bible narrative says. Yeah, I know that. I think it's shocking how Christians don't seem to know or understand that. You know? And if they do know it, it's like they know it, but they don't put it in the context. Like the entire Bible is a Jewish fairy tale. All of the characters in the Bible, the main characters, are Jewish. They mention the Gentiles in you know, multiple capacities, but as a separate group, multiple times throughout the Bible. The Gentiles, those Gentiles over there, not us, those Gentiles. Yes, I'm starting to twitch. Like what? Like that desperation, instead of being able to come up with something intelligent, it's just dumbass. It's just dumbass nonsense over and over again, and that's just weird. Like at the end of the day, whether you're on the fence or you're new here or whatever, don't you think it's strange that instead of actually telling me what I'm wrong about and how I'm wrong and just you know, putting that nail in the coffin, they want to sit here and play these dumb games and say dumb shit that makes them look stupid? Doesn't work against me.
Which means Charlie wasn't killed by some Hayom with a gun, and the wall we need to build will only ever be done when
the Kirk show, Operation Kirk, was working probably better than they anticipated. Israel created Charlie Kirk. Israel gave us Charlie Kirk. There's no way around that. Like, it's so strange that people are ignoring that fact. But this is that thing where it's like, again, you can't fix the problem without addressing the root of it, the root cause. And unless you understand that we don't know about the person, they're not famous unless they're allowed to be. Like, we have to get you there. I am so far past that point that I don't even think about it anymore. But I guess most of you just don't even understand that. Did you hear about the synagogue attack? Yeah. The terrorist attack. Talk about some manufactured dumbassery. All these names are being withheld, and the narrative just doesn't make any sense. This guy drove his car into a group of people and didn't kill anybody. Injured a couple of people. One of the two casualties was a police shoot. Was from the police. And actually, another person got shot by police as well. There were 2 gunshot wounds. One was fatal. And immediately it's a terrorist attack and it's all this shit. It's so strange how it works, because here in the States, here in Michigan, an hour or so away from here, a white military man, Christian no doubt, crashed into a Mormon tabernacle, or whatever the fuck they go to, Mormon church. The same sort of thing, crashed into the thing, killed 2 people, set the place on fire. Of course, his was set on fire because it was a newer Mormon church. It wasn't some old historic building they wanted to demolish. I don't know. He didn't kill 2. He didn't. He supposedly maybe killed 1, but that's not. It's not even. We don't know that. And the fucking. The narrative you're given, like, again, it's like, even if you're a Jew, you should be pissed off that the narrative you're given is such a flimsy bullshit one. And to see how it's all manipulated and used against people, and the system is creating your downfall. It's pretty obvious that the people are moving in the direction of being sick of your cult. It's being manufactured in this way by, which is going to work against you. Who were the other 3 suspects that were arrested that's names are being withheld? Why are their names being withheld? It don't make no sense. Other than, like I say, I always hate saying things don't make sense, because everything does make sense if you look at it the right way. It just depends on what you're willing to see. If you're not willing to see it, well, then it's probably not going to make much sense. But the narrative is just dumb. And you would think that, you're smarter than, you're better than. But it's the same thing as the whole Matitza Israel Hayom shit. The person that came in and was like, I'm against the Matitza. Sure, it's easy to say that on my feed, but you don't do anything about it. And it's even, the bigger issue is the ritualistic sexual abuse that I know you know about. You just won't acknowledge it. I'm the biggest, like, I'm the biggest champion for Jewish children in the world. Strangest position I ever thought I'd find myself in. But I'm the one, unlike the Jews who think that you should kill the children of, of your enemy because they're going to rise up and come against you. It goes to show you they know what savage pieces of shit they are. Because they know that there's no way that, you can smooth things over or give some understanding or whatever. They're talking about killing children. And that's the last thing I want. I don't think any children should be killed. As a matter of fact, I think if we start protecting Jewish children, maybe they won't grow up to be such horrible fucking psychopaths. Because that level of abuse that's happening to an entire population while being told they're not allowed to talk about it, like that causes some psychotic breaks. That's how you create Manchurian candidates. That's how you eliminate someone's consciousness and someone's, the good in someone, the empathy in someone. When their own personal experience is as bad or worse than what most people experience, where's they're not going to have any sympathy. These Jews all know what I'm talking about. It was, it's probably happened to them. There's a good chance that, especially if they're Israeli. But even then, think about what you were told about the synagogue attack, right? The synagogue attack was on a building where it was mostly elderly and children hanging out. Why was it a bunch of elderly and children together? Where were the adults? Where was where were the regular adults? Why was it all elderly and children all together in this lonely area? How do we know that the terrorist didn't find out what was going on in there and was specifically trying to bring awareness to it, trying to stop it, since they had reported it to the police and this, that, and the other, and nobody had done anything? How do you know that's not the case? The only thing you know is the story that's given to you by the people that do the shit. So if the narrative is provided by the perpetuators, you can't trust it. Of course, they killed the guy, so the only thing that we get to know is the secret manifesto that they're going to find, or some kind of shit. Did the comments get shut off? Seems like there's a lot less crying suddenly, so I assume the comments got shut off. Why was it all adults? Why was it all elderly and children? And most of you might not think too much of that, but when you start looking into what is, what their whole beliefs are, especially considering it's Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is about repentance, transcendence. It's about transferring your sins onto others, and it's so fucked up. All these elderly people are just hanging out with a bunch of young children. Are they their children? Are they related to these people? Where's the investigation? Oh wait, there is no investigation because they shot the guy. They shut off the comments. All right, well, let's reset, because I'm so worried about the comment section that I want to read it. I want to see what's being said. You guys can probably still see the comments, but I can't. The last comment I see is from Jeff Goldsteinberg, who says, "You don't know anything." That's what they do, man. I'm giving you the details. How do I not know anything, but I'm giving you the details? Like, share, and sub. Check out the links in the description. I'm coming back, but if you got to go do that stuff, at the very least, go get your free download. But I'll be right back. Pedophiles, kill yourself.